championship, loved by many, hated by few, respected by all, second to none. Second to none. And that's what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the best radio podcast show in America, second to none. And as you know, this is Legal Standpoint with Michael J. Todd. Legal Standpoint with Michael J. Todd, in which we have the attorney to come in here on these airwaves to check us out and to give us, some nuggets of wisdom about law and where you stand at. And in this particular case, where does America stand with Donald J. Trump? Man, he got the same name you got. He got a J in his name, too?
No. Yeah, he has a J, but he doesn't have the same name as I do.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I don't even know how to take that.
I'm just trying to give you a connection here, man.
No, man, I don't need a connection with chaos and crazy, man.
Chaos and crazy.
No, I don't need that. So, but Ed, how you doing,
Man, I'm doing all right.
All right, it's been a little while.
Because it's been chaotic and crazy, man.
It has been.
Because, we're supposed to be here on Saturdays.
Third Saturday of the month.
And which Saturday is this?
This is the fourth Saturday.
Fourth Saturday of the month.
Yeah. It was thunderstorming so
That's
bad
right.
last year.
That's right.
Last week.
Last week.
It was treacherous driving.
Treacherous.
My wife didn't want me to get out in the rain.
Oh, so you're going to blame it on her, man?
Well, I didn't want to get out in the rain.
I didn't want you to come out in the rain either, man. I had another event, man. It was Mothers of Murdered Angels, man, and I was with them about an hour before I came over here today, because they're killing people here in Dallas.
Oh, really? So you were with them last week and this week?
And this week.
So it's a weekly thing?
It's not a weekly thing, but I just happened to run into them at Omar Epps' brother, that actor.
Correct.
Yeah. So he was in town at the Doc bookstore, and we was just kicking it for a little while.
Okay. And where's this bookstore?
Bookstore is in the East Chase area of Fort Worth.
Oh, Fort Worth. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't make it over there too much.
But
Fort Worth.
You make it all over Texas and
well,
everything.
I do. But
doing your business.
Usually, work-related type stuff.
Well, this is work-related. I'm working for the American people, man.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
that's what I do.
That's why you the commish.
That's
man.
why I'm
that's
the commish. That's it. That's why I'm the commish.
So as it relates to this week, I've just been kind of despondent a little bit as I, read the publications, listen to the news. I mean, but you know what? I hate to have to kind of come to this position. It seems like every month I'm despondent about something that's going on in this country, man. I mean, why do I feel this way?
Well, I think I know the reason why I feel this way. I had a couple of minutes during the earlier show, and we had some technical difficulties, and I was feeling despondent then, and I was like, man, I'm in a quandary, man. American democracy seems to be failing, man.
Oh, it definitely does. It definitely does appear to be failing. And not only is it a failing in America, it seems like it's really taking root with failure here in the state of Texas. I mean, I'm really concerned about what's going on in our state. A lot of times, you talked about Trump, but we're not going to talk about Trump today as a principal conversation. Of course, he's going to be interspersed in here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that when you just think about Texas, man, I'm trying to figure out, is Texas the new Iron Curtain, here? You remember the Iron Curtain that they used to say was, Russia, Czechoslovakia, all that kind of stuff behind the Iron Curtain. Is Texas like that as it relates to that?
I think it is. They took, or rather, shall I say, we took Texas history in school, and they said Texas is another state, is another country. They even said that.
Right.
And it's like, I believe that they beginning to think, people like Greg Abbott beginning to think that it is another country, the way they doing things, man.
Right.
At the border and everything, they saying that they don't have to respect
the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court.
Supreme Court issued an order as it relates to being able to take down the barbed wire that the state of Texas had done that has been killing migrants as they try to cross over the Rio Grande. And Texas has just said, hey, man, we don't care. We ain't going to do it. and just kind of thumbing their nose. And then actually went a couple of steps further to say that, hey, look, we are taking over this particular park, even though the federal government is involved, Homeland Security is involved in immigration. We're not going to allow those individuals to come in to even process people. And it's a real big stalemate there, between the federal government and Texas. And I think Biden just has to kind of play it kind of cool right now because there's an election coming up.
Oh man, I wish you wouldn't do that.
What do you mean?
I just wish he would have, just say, no, I'm running this. He need to do like.
Well, but the thing is this, Ed, there are a lot of individuals that don't understand all the complexities of a situation. And, they may just kind of go half-cocked on one side or the other. So it might be better to just kind of play it cool right now, wait till the election's over with, and then kind of, bring it down to him.
Man, you ever saw that movie Rocky, man?
Yeah. Rocky 1, 2, or 3?
No, yeah, Rocky 4, 5, 6, or 7.
I know.
It's like, but I can't recall which one it was, but it was the one in which Apollo Creed was in it. I think it was 3 then. When he says, well, tomorrow, Rocky said, tomorrow, we'll do it tomorrow. And Apollo got mad and said, no, there is no tomorrow. So, this is what we're dealing with now. I mean,
yeah, but the thing is this.
I mean, I would just sit there and say, no, Greg Abbott, no, we ain't doing that. I'm going to just send some people down there and we're just taking over.
Well, you know what, though? I've got to say one thing about that.
What's
in
that?
the legal profession, especially in criminal law,
Okay.
my colleagues and I, we have a saying as it relates to how we handle our cases. My man Kenneth Witherspoon and I say this all the time. This is chess, not checkers. And sometimes you have to think 4 or 5 moves ahead before you make your move.
Yeah, I hear Witherspoon saying that now.
Yeah, you just can't start jumping all over the board. And just
ain't jumping.
Playing frontwards, backwards. All
Man,
to
you
the
can do
side.
King's X, man.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
I can super doom.
No, you got to play chess, not checkers, man. Chess.
Oh, so all right.
So I believe Biden's playing chess.
He's playing it that way. Huh?
Right. But the thing is this though. That's just an example of what's going on in Texas. But the things that are really concerning me is that you heard this saying, that governor down in Florida, he tries to make some saying this is the state that woke comes to die. You've heard him say that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I kind of took a little version of that. Texas seems to be the state where freedom goes to die. I mean, freedom just seems to be trampled here. We've got examples such as ladies don't have a right to choose as it relates to their bodies, their medical treatment, the things of that. We can't go through, and they're trying to keep people from learning history, specifically black history.
True.
Criminal, critical race theory, whatever you want to call it.
Critical race theory,
Right.
diversity, equity, inclusion.
They're trying to, the DEI, they're trying to destroy all of that. And then on top of it, and we're going to talk about all of those things, but, then on top of it, it seems like just the right to protest is under attack just this past week with the individuals down at University of Texas who were protesting, Palestinians that were protesting for the Palestinian cause. And not only did Greg Abbott, I know he's in Austin because that's where the governor's mansion is, and that's where they are. But why is he interjecting himself into a situation that's going on at University of Texas, where he's making demands as it relates to how these protesters should be dealt with? It seems to be a overall theme of what's going on in Texas. Let's deny freedom to people, right?
Well, it depends. It's like anytime if you protest in America, it's like if you come from a vantage point of being oppressed or being a person of color, then you're told not to protest.
Right.
It's like if you're black, then Black Lives Matter. Why are you guys protesting? Palestinians, why are you guys protesting? And I'll be honest with you, there's no other way for me to be. You know, I just like when people say, "I'll be honest with you." That implies that any other time they're not honest.
You know what? Because I say that around my wife all the time, and she tells me that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I want to be honest.
Yeah, I'm
with
gonna tell you the truth now.
I'm gonna tell you the truth now. So any other time you're not telling me the truth?
Well, I always tell my wife.
I know, but I'm just saying that's what we always say. You know, we say that.
Yeah.
But the reality, let's put it that way. The reality of it is that when it comes to people of color, they are told, like that journalist once told LeBron James, "Shut up and play basketball."
Right. Yeah. We had that example. Let's go back to 2020 during the George Floyd protests. We had individuals that were going out, they were protesting, and a lot of people, you know, it was a cross section of people. You know, people wanted to talk about, you know, what happened to George Floyd directly. Individuals were talking about what's been systemic within this society, Texas, other places such as that. And there was a cross section of people that were galvanized by the George Floyd situation. Right. You know, it was a very diverse and multicultural type of momentum.
And that messed people up.
Oh yeah,
you know, when it was just black people, it was like, oh,
yeah,
there they are, they're complaining again. Them people, those people, you know.
Right.
We just wait them out, you know, and then that'll be it. But it's like, wait a minute, hold on.
Right. It was a cross section of people.
It's you know, a lot of people out here, and it's like the power structure said, wait a minute, you know, it's my sons and daughters that are doing this.
Right. And because the thing is this, I mean, individuals who don't get caught up into looking at things just through a certain lens, they can see right versus wrong. And what happened to George Floyd was wrong. And things that will happen, and it just wasn't George Floyd. I mean, we had the young man that was in Chicago that got shot 18 times as he was walking away from the police. We had the guy, Alton Sterling, you know, who had his hands up and, you know, got shot. I think that was in Louisiana.
Right.
I mean, we've had Philando Smith. Castile, you know, who tells the person, oh, I got a license, you know, to carry. Now, you know, the thing is
it's in my glove compartment.
Yeah, and the thing is this. When you have a license to carry, I've got a license to carry, that usually tells the police officer that I'm not a criminal, that I have gone through the process and I have qualified by not having criminal convictions or disqualifying type characteristics, that I'm able to carry this gun. And so for that officer to pull his gun out and to shoot him and kill him, it was just, I mean, it was just horrendous, you know, things that were happening. But the thing is this, I mean, back after that George Floyd, you remember Texas passed a law, I think it was in 2021, where they were trying to make it where if you were involved in a protest, that they could classify it as a riot and made it an offense, you know, from that standpoint. And so you had, number one, a chilling of protest, a chilling of your person's First Amendment rights to protest. And so they just didn't stop there, you know. And this past week, what was really, really disturbing was the fact that Abbott, our governor, interjected himself into the whole dispute with respect to the Palestinians who have been protesting. Now, I'm not getting into this whole debate of were the Palestinians right, were the Israelis wrong, or things of that nature. But it is a catastrophic type war that's going on over there. There were a lot of people that were killed on October 7th, and that was horrible. There have been a lot more people and a lot of people that have been killed since, and that's horrible also. And we need to be able to have some type of action to move forward as it relates to something happening overall with respect to that situation. You know, I had a conversation with another attorney this past week, and we were talking about, you know, this whole thing, and his position was like, well, you know, that's happening over there. You know, why are people protesting, you know, on college campuses over here? You know, I would be upset if my kid was there and I'm paying $70,000 for tuition and he can't go to class, things of that nature. He said, I'm sure you feel that way too. And I was like, no, to be honest, I'd probably be more upset if my child wasn't involved in the protest. because I think that the protest has some valid concerns that need to be addressed. And so, when a person takes a position that, hey, look, why are we even protesting that? What good is that going to do with something that's happening somewhere over somewhere else? It kind of makes me think back to maybe, let's see, the early 80s when people were protesting about some foreign government that was oppressing black folks. Was it called South Africa?
Yep.
Yeah, and was it the apartheid movement?
Yep.
And when Randall Robinson and all those individuals were protesting, and people were saying at that point, what good is this going to do? That's happened in South Africa. What's America have to do with it? But what happened was those protests in America led to action. Those protests led to the United States Congress overriding a veto of Ronald Reagan to divest from South Africa. You remember that?
Right.
And that had a profound effect on the economy in South Africa, and it also had a profound effect as it relates to how that government then tried to move forward by freeing Mandela, going to the reconciliation process, things of that nature as it relates to that particular country. It wasn't our country. People could say it wasn't our fight, but protest here illuminated what was going over there and had an effect, not just where we are, but around the world. So as it relates to this situation, I think that protests are good, as it relates to throughout the country and also with respect to what was happening here. What I don't like is that the governor decided, he issued this order I think back in March, where he asked all of the universities to go through and to evaluate how their free speech is working on their campus. But then he listed 2 Palestinian groups in that, basically saying that the groups in and of themselves were anti-Semitic. And that they basically he said they needed to be in jail, and also they need to be expelled from school. The people who were members of that group who were protesting. I mean, could you believe that?
Yes, I can believe that, because that's what they used to do to black people. And they did that in many states. Give you an example. I was with Dr. Robertson, Harry Robertson, earlier today, and we were talking about Louisiana. And that's what they used to do to people in Louisiana when they were protesting for civil rights. They said to them, they treating these people like they black.
Right.
That's what's happening. They treat them like they black. So what they did do was you ended up having people say as well, they said, well, get the kids out of school and suspend them from school and don't allow them to come back to school, period.
Right.
And that's what they did at Grambling State University. That's what they did at the other historical black colleges throughout the South, because they received money from the dominant culture, if you will.
Correct.
And they still not receiving the money neither.
Right.
Because we could go into another show, talk about all the millions of dollars these HBCUs are not getting from the respective states, including this one.
Including this state. Because if you look at, not to go into an aside, but yeah, if you look at Texas A&M in Texas versus TSU and Prairie View, it's a big difference as it relates to how those schools are being funded.
Right, and the funds that they get, they're paying late. We're not going to pay at all.
Right,
and they probably wouldn't if we started protesting there about something.
Right, but the thing that I guess it takes you back is that in 2024, you see these reoccurring cycles of conduct by the government. The one thing that the Republicans, who are thoroughly entrenched in the state of Texas, is that they've always talked about individual freedom. They've talked about states' rights, staying out of the local type affairs. And this government that we've had here, they've passed laws to try to determine what local ordinances can do. They have passed laws that are trying to tell the local governments what they need to do. I mean, it's just a thing where it's like they're trying to impose what I would call groupthink. as it relates to what individuals, not only how you feel, but what you must believe. You know, it's kind of like, were you a fan of Star Trek?
Yep.
You remember Star Trek: The New Generation?
Now that one, man, I'm older than you, man.
You ain't older than me. You younger than me.
Go along with me this time.
Okay,
Todd.
all right, okay.
I just went to the old one. Man.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah,
You just followed the old one.
Yeah, I just follow the old one.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah, I follow.
So you don't know Captain Picard?
Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay, yeah.
Well, one of the enemies for Star Trek: New Generation was the Borg. You familiar with the Borg?
We're gonna have to go do a commercial break, man.
Man, I can't believe you weren't. You don't know Star Trek.
You interrogating me, Todd.
You don't know Star Trek if you don't know the Borg Collective.
I need a lawyer, man.
Well, the Borg Collective, it was like a hive. Everybody thought the same. It was like every person's mind was interconnected and they all could only think and do the same thing.
I have to go to YouTube University and catch up.
Right. So that's what it feels like in Texas now. It's kind of like the Borg Collective. Kind of like one time when I went to a football game in Texas A&M one time. It felt like the Borg Collective. Everybody had on the same jersey. Everybody stood at the same time. Everybody said the same chants. Everybody rocked left and right at the same time. Oh, man, it was eerie, man. I'd never been anything like it.
Yeah.
It was like the Borg Collective.
And that's what we have now in the state of Texas.
Yeah, that's what we have now. They're trying to impose how we think. You know, and Abbott is doing that. He's doing it by orders. He's trying to use his discretion as it relates to the police. They just went in, and, you know, some of the comments that he made, he cheered these arrests. He sent these people in, and by all accounts, there has been no indication that they were doing anything violent. I haven't read anything that shows that they were doing anything that interfered with the daily functions of the university. But he, you know, decreed that they needed to be arrested. And they had, I think they said 100, you know, Texas Department of Public Safety officers that came in and just cleared folks out. And they were on horseback. And
That's intimidating.
And they were just riding through like old Bull Connor days.
Yeah.
You know, that's all that.
And that escalates it. It escalates the situation as well.
And the thing is this. So he says the fact that they are advocating for a ceasefire and for the Palestinian cause, that makes them anti-Semitic in and of itself, right? And what he used as an example was that they said some chant that says we want to establish Palestine from the river to the sea.
Right, exactly.
The river to the sea. Now, some people have said that means that they're trying to obliterate Israel and the Jews, right? Other people have said that means that they're just trying to say that they're trying to establish a Palestinian state. Now, whichever version you go with, that doesn't really make a difference here. Because if we're going to start banning people because of something that they say, I would pose, what's the difference between somebody saying to the river, to the sea, versus the South will rise again? You know?
That's a good one.
I mean, when I hear the South will rise again, something that Ronald Reagan said when he kicked off his election back for the 1980 election in, I believe, Gulfport, Mississippi. Philadelphia, Mississippi, where the three workers had been killed, right?
Civil rights workers
had been killed. He indicated the South will rise again. And now to black folks.
That a whites only fair.
Yeah. And to black folks, we were like, well, we know what that means. You know, because the South rising again.
But he didn't use the N word.
Well, he didn't have to.
I mean, that's what I always say. You don't have to use that.
Right.
But you know what we have to do? It's time for us to take a break. So we're going to play a couple of drops, and then we'll come back and we'll kick it again. All right?
All right.
Hi, my name is Gail Todd with Townview Realtors. If you find yourself in the market to buy, sell, lease, or maybe you want to be a part of this hot real estate market by investing, just give my team of professionals and I a call at 214-675-9572. Again, that's 214-675-9572. Or you can email me at gtodd88@yahoo.com. With me, it's all about you.
I'm Pastor Freddie Haynes. I listen to the Commish show on the Fishbowl for my social activism information so I can be a better agitator.
Hi, my name is Gail Todd with Townview Realtors. If you find yourself in the market to buy, sell, lease, or maybe you want to be a part of this hot real estate market by investing, just give my team of professionals and I a call at 214-675-9572. Again, that's 214-675-9572. Or you can email me at gtodd88@yahoo.com. With me, it's all about you.
This is Sheldon Smith, president of the National Black Police Association Dallas chapter, with my good friend Ed Gray on Commish Radio every Saturday. Tune in.
All right. We were talking about police just a minute ago, and then we just played a police drop on that. So, that's one of the good policemen, though.
Oh, without a doubt.
Smith,
Without a doubt.
Sheldon Smith. Shout out to Sheldon Smith with the police association, the Black Police Association, brother. That's what it is.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to follow up on what we were talking about before the break, if we're going to start making determinations of who can speak and who cannot speak as a result of what they're saying, then, where's the freedom in with respect to that? Now, let's ask this question. Abbott is saying that these people, by saying to the river, to the sea or whatever, that those individuals now, they're anti-Semitic and they can't speak, right? Now, when we had Charlottesville.
Is Greg Abbott Jewish?
No, not that I'm aware of. No.
I'm always concerned.
I think he's a resident of Duncanville, Texas, though, and I know he graduated from Duncanville High School. Must have been a different era, though.
It had to be a different era.
Had to
he
be
graduated from Duncanville High School now. But that's what my whole point is. He's making a determination of what's anti-Semitic.
Right, right. Now, my question is this, though. Back when we had Charlottesville in 2017, when the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists were chanting, "Jews will not replace us," did he take Trump on as it relates to that?
No.
When Trump indicated that there was good people on both sides.
No, he didn't.
Did he say that those people? Now, he did issue a tweet. I got to give him credit for that.
What time did he issue it? Like
he
1:30 in the morning.
I didn't look at the time.
You know
what? I wanted to give him fair credit, right? He did issue a tweet.
Twitter. This is why I can go ahead and say my Twitter handle, Ed Gray 1906. But if I put something out there at 1:30, I know chances are
nobody gonna see it.
Yeah, it's gonna get buried on the tweet.
Well, you know what? I didn't print out the tweet, but I did find it. He did tweet that discrimination was just, something that was not. That should not be sanctioned. He said that. I give him that.
It was beyond the pale, so to speak.
Right, beyond the pale. But the thing is that I never saw him take on the individual who was nuzzling up to the white nationalists and neo-Nazis.
Wait a minute, hold on. But he never said the N-word, though. Trump never said the N-word.
Well, he doesn't have to.
That's the point.
Wait a minute.
That's what we keep saying.
Yeah,
that's the point. You don't have to say it.
Right.
This is the whole point of this exercise, is that you don't have to say it. You have to show it.
Right. But the thing is, that goes all the way back to Lee Atwater. When we talked about the Southern
strategy.
The Southern strategy. Lee Atwater said, hey, look, and for those that don't know, Lee Atwater was the campaign manager for Ronald Reagan. on that 1980 type run that we just talked about before, where he started in Philadelphia, Mississippi, and said the South will rise again. And Lee Atwater said that what we had to do is develop a way. We couldn't say N-word, N-word, N-word anymore like George Wallace would say. We couldn't say segregation forever like that. But what we would do is we would talk about things in a generic form that individuals knew were code words for those same things. Law and order. The South will rise again. Welfare queens. Things of that nature. Those buzzwords that they can say that would then have the intended audience to latch on to say, yeah, I understand what this person is saying.
Like critical race theory. They teaching critical race theory in schools.
You know what? And the thing is this. If you asked 10 people who were against critical race theory, what was critical race theory? They couldn't even tell you at all. They have no concept of what it is. They confuse anything now. Now the thing is, if you got a book that's by a black person, that's critical race theory. You know? And they've gotten to the point that they're trying to erase history, which takes away another freedom. You don't have a freedom to learn like you want to. But they're taking away that freedom, and they've extended it all the way where they're banning books and things of that nature. I mean, it's just crazy. But when we get back to the general topic that we're talking about, how are you just going to say that the subject matter of a statement subjects you to jail and to be expelled from school? You know, I read an article this past week where a little boy, I think that was down in Weatherford, Texas, on the baseball team. And while he was at the bat, the other folks, well, I think the little boy was from Heath, I believe, and the little boy and the team they were playing was Weatherford, I believe. It was in Weatherford, Texas. But while he's at the bat, they calling him the N-word the whole time, and it's on videotape. Now, have we heard Abbott come out about that and say that that's wrong, that shouldn't be subjected to some type of penalty? No. It always appears that the individuals, Black Lives Matter, the Palestinians, it seems like when those individuals or these individuals say something, then we have an effort to shut it down. But then when we have situations where white nationalists, neo-Nazis are talking, oh, we're going to listen to them. If you remember this past year, there was some top Republican, it was a top Republican PAC that met with the neo-Nazi Mark Fuentes. You remember that? And everybody was in an uproar. How you going to meet with this guy? You know, this, that, and the other. And then the Republican conference had an opportunity in December of 2023 to pass a regulation that none of their members would meet with white supremacists and neo-Nazis. This was the Republican conference here in Texas. You follow me? Oh, guess what? They voted that down.
By a wide margin, or was it close?
It was kind of close.
Kind of close.
It was kind of close. Let me look. Let's see. It was
kind of close.
It was 32 to 29.
Kind of close.
The members of the Texas
That's like being kind of pregnant.
Yeah. It was kind of close. You know. Hey, I guess they had good people on both sides.
Yeah, they did.
But the Texas GOP Executive Committee stripped a pro-Israel resolution of a clause that would have included a ban barring the party from associating with known Nazi sympathizers and Holocaust deniers.
I like that. Known.
Right.
Not to be confused with those you don't know.
That you don't know.
You may suspect.
Right. These were known. But the Republican Executive Committee said, you know what, that's okay. But when these folks are out here and they're saying, hey, look, we're advocating for this Palestinian cause, they should be put in jail and expelled from school.
But they can associate with known?
With known Nazi sympathizers and Holocaust deniers. And it passed, and that vote was 32 to 29 that they can keep doing that.
They can associate with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess the question would be, are we going to listen to?
Wouldn't that be considered anti-Semitic?
I would think so. If somebody's saying to the river, to the sea, which I think is akin to the South will rise again, and then they take a vote on whether we're going to be with known Nazi sympathizers and Holocaust deniers who were in Charlottesville hollering, Jews will not replace us. Mark Fuentes was a part of the Charlottesville, right? So why are we not condemning him in his speech? Why has Abbott not come out and said, when all this happened, where the GOP was meeting with Fuentes, why didn't he come out and say that this person needs to be expelled, this person needs to be put in jail for his speech? Why? Why has he not called out Donald Trump with respect to the things that he has said about Mexicans or people that are immigrants being a curse to the blood of the country?
That's because
they're criminals.
That's because he's one of them.
Right.
That's what I would say. You can't say
the
that.
Hispanic federal judge.
You playing chess. I'm playing checkers.
Right.
And that ain't no slap. I'm just getting straight to it.
Right.
Abbott's a racist, man.
Think he's a racist?
I think he's a racist. I'm gonna just say it.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say some of his policies do appear to have to have a bent, such
right.
as that.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
And this is where I want us all who are listening right now, whether or not you playing chess or checkers, we want you to be on the board itself. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You got to be on the board.
You got to be on the board. If you playing at another level or you playing at a lower level, make sure you play the game straight and right. When this guy does the things that he does, we got to call him out on it.
Right. Well, not only call him out because people call him out, but we got to take action.
And do something.
Yeah, we got to do something. The thing is this. We complain about the stuff, but we got to raise money for those organizations that are taking on these directives, these violations, in court. We've got to raise money to get voters out. I mean, there are more black folks in the state of Texas than in any state in the United States by numbers. You hear what I just said? Now, and I've said this before, some states like Georgia have a higher percentage. They may have 38% of the people in Georgia are black, right? But from a numerical standpoint, there are more black people here. In the state of Texas, the Hispanic population here in Texas exceeds the population of any other group in this country, in this state. They are the majority. We have to galvanize with individuals from all groups who are like-minded, band together, and we have to make sure that our objectives, that our ideals, our idea of what America and what freedom should be is implemented.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the first thing that we need to do is talk to Mark Fuentes, who has a Hispanic name.
And ask him why is he a racist?
Why the hell is he a racist?
Why is he a racist? Yeah. Well, if that's the case, what about the Proud Boy guy? What was his last name? It was Enrico Tarrio.
Right.
I couldn't understand why he was a Proud Boy.
And then George Zimmerman, who self-identified as Hispanic before he got busted, and then remembered his daddy's name is Zimmerman and say, I'm white.
Right.
He didn't identify as white until then.
Yeah, no. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But you can't just sit here. If Abbott wants to say that, hey, look, these people can't speak, then he has to be able to apply that equally to all people, okay? He can't apply it to all people, so why is he trying to apply it to the Palestinians who are trying to protest now?
That's true. We're getting ready to take another break. It's 5:23, and when we come back, we will go ahead and continue to be on the board. All right?
All right.
This is Albert Black, and I'm a big fan of Ed Gray and the Commish radio program.
Hey, you know, whenever I want good Cajun food, I go to Thibodeau's, located at 107 North Cedar Ridge in Duncanville, Texas. They're really hot, just like the Commish radio show in Thibodeau's. Hot as this gumbo. We will see you later at Thibodeau's.
Hey, this is Cheryl Smith, and when I'm looking for news and information, I tune into The Commish on Saturdays.
I got so much trouble on my mind, refuse to lose. Here's your ticket. Here's the drama get wicked. The clue to you to push the back to black attack. So I sack and dap and slack the Mac. Now I'm ready to mic it. Hear my favoritism roll.
Hi, my name is Gail Todd with Townview Realtors. If you find yourself in the market to buy, sell, lease, or maybe you want to be a part of this hot real estate market by investing, just give my team of professionals and I a call at 214-675-9572. Again, that's 214-675-9572. Or you can email me at gtodd88@yahoo.com. With me, it's all about you.
Everyone, this is Marcus Turner Jr. Yeah, that's right, running for Dallas County Clerk. And when I want to listen to the latest in politics, the latest in what's going on in Dallas County, guess who I tune into?
This is Andy Harvey, Chief of Police in Palestine, Texas, and author of Excellence in Policing. I like to keep it real here with Ed Gray on the Commish radio show.
This is your community constable, Bill Gibson, representing Garland, Mesquite, Rowlett, Saxe, Centerville, and East Dallas in Precinct 2, Dallas County. And you are tuned into The Commish with Ed Gray.
Hello, this is Arlington Councilmember Robert Rivera. Whenever I'd like to know what's happening here in our city, learn more about Arlington politics, I tune in and listen to the Commish radio show every Saturday from 3 to 5 here on the Fishbowl Radio Network.
All right, back.
Hey y'all, it's Cynthia Patrice, and when I'm not coding
Man, you know, one thing that we can talk about, you know, a lot of times, you know, we've already touched on this today, where this whole move for DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, you know, and what they like to do is the opponents of it, they like to frame it as if it's just a black thing, you know. Well, yeah, anything now that's dealing with black folks, even history, whatever, it's all DEI, right? I saw something the other day where some guy was talking about, yeah, DEI, they didn't earn it, you know, all this old jive. But what individuals don't really understand is that a lot of women have come under the umbrella of DEI for opportunity. Because women, whether white, black, Hispanic, have all been shunned as far as business, education, a lot of different things. So when you have this DEI effort to foreclose DEI, it's also foreclosing opportunities for women. That's one thing that we've got to think of. So it's not only attack on black, it's also attack on gender also, right? And how further has Texas attacked gender? You look like you had a question.
Yeah, I do have a question. So you say gender, you're talking about white women?
Yeah, even white women.
That's the point. See, when we start talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's like it's black people again. We did not have affirmative action unless we had, and they put this in the equal rights discussions. They made it possible to get more white men to vote for equal rights by including women into that clause.
You're right. I would agree. I mean, it was probably
That was it.
It was a political.
It was a political
Yeah.
move.
But the thing is this.
That's what we need to do as well, and say, hey, look, this is affecting you guys too, because diversity, equity, and inclusion is not a black thing; it's a woman thing too.
Well, yeah. Well, I
And-
mean, but that's one thing I've been saying for years. You know, the thing is this. I mean, women have had a hard time. I mean, they couldn't even vote till what, 1920? Was when did they pass the amendment? Was it 20?
Yeah, 1920.
Yeah,
And-
1920.
And black women in Dallas County couldn't vote till 1940 when Juanita Craft did it.
Right. So the thing is, I mean, and women, of course, they bump against the glass ceiling just like it is. I remember when Craig Watkins won the district attorney's office back, when was that, 06, 08, whatever year it was. I mean, that was a boom for women at the DA's office. Craig Watkins used his position to place more women, white, black, Hispanic, whatever, right, in positions of authority in the DA's office than anybody else before him. Before that, it was always a male club. And it wasn't black males, right? They had a few here and there, but it was a male club. And he actually opened those things up as it relates to women, which is one of the reasons I think that, you know, he was so popular, you know, with his DA, with the DA employees down there, because he was fair as it relates to opening up his administration. And the thing is that these DEI, affirmative action, things of those natures, those have also been beneficial to women, just like they have been to blacks, Hispanics, or whoever, Asian Pacifics, whatever, right? And so when you're attacking those things, you're also attacking the advancement of women. Because I'm going to tell you, man, I had a conversation, and of course I'm not going to name anybody, but I had a conversation at the courthouse, and it was a robust conversation with a cross-section of individuals. And when I say cross-section, we had black folks, we had white folks, Hispanic brother was involved in the conversation. You know, it was just one of those downtimes at the courthouse, and we were just talking.
And what do you mean by robust?
It was robust, meaning that we were all giving our opinions, we were giving our ideas, and really how we were feeling.
Y'all got loud, didn't you?
No, it didn't. No, I don't mean robust in sound. I mean robust in ideas.
If you did.
Yeah,
I mean,
but no.
You know, but
But one of the
because that
things-
means the intensity's good.
But one of the things that one of the brothers said, the European brother, he said, you know, I feel like, you know, like we're losing our spot, or where do we fit in more so, as it relates to women and other individuals making advancements. And so, you know, this is a real feeling that I think that some individuals are having, but I don't think they should, you know? I mean, you can't just be protected. Nobody can be protected. I mean, life is life. You got to go through life, and you got to deal with the ups and downs of life. You know, you got to, you know, you get out what you put in, and that's just the way it goes. And so the way to try to ensure that my position is, you know, enshrined is not to try to keep other individuals from having an opportunity, not to try to keep other individuals or try to belittle what other individuals are doing. I mean, you know, could I say that, hey, I've been a beneficiary of affirmative action? Yeah, I'm sure I know I have at some point during my career, right? But I also think that I'm an intelligent person. I think that I've been successful because, hey, I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And so everybody has to have an opportunity. But the question is what do you do with the opportunity? And DEI would just give individuals, you know, at first we were saying, okay, you can't do affirmative action, it's goals, it's quotas and all that stuff. So they said, well, you know what, okay, we're not going to do that. We're just going to make sure that we have fair opportunity, you know, to have a diverse workforce, diverse chain of thought, things of that nature. Now, all of a sudden, that's supposed to be under attack. But like I said, it's really starting to affect the ladies. Now, we talked about it can affect them. It affect them from the workplace, things of that nature. Coupled with all that is this whole thing that's going on with the reproductive rights.
Okay.
Because you remember back in 2021, Texas passed a law Now, this was before Roe v. Wade was overturned. And Texas passed a law back in 2021, and it said that any person that had an abortion prior to 6 weeks, after 6 weeks, that any person that assisted them in that abortion could be sued.
Right.
You remember that?
Right.
I think I know we talked about this one time, and I think you made it akin to the slave, the slave catchers. What was that? What was that act they passed?
The Fugitive Slave
The
Act.
Fugitive Slave Act, right?
Yeah.
And so any individual, you didn't have to be related to the woman that had the abortion. You didn't have to know her. Anybody in the whole state of Texas, and guess what? It just wasn't limited to the state of Texas. Anybody in the country could come in and sue your doctor, could sue your nurse, and when I say your, I'm talking about the person who had the abortion. They could sue the Uber driver who took you to the abortion clinic. You follow what I'm saying? And so what happened is that had a chilling effect as it relates to abortions here, or reproductive care, however you want to phrase it, as it relates to this country, to this state. Then what did we do? Then in 2022, they had the Dobbs decision. And the Dobbs decision went to the Supreme Court with the justices that Trump put on there, and they overruled over 50 years of precedent and said that the right to choose, the right to plan how you have your family is no longer protected by the right of privacy. And so with that opened it up to the whole states, all the states, to then start passing whatever laws they want. And of course, Texas was right on the front of, the front bumper. And so they passed what we have now.
It was on the front line of being backwards.
Front line of being backwards. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that, man. I like that.
That's good.
All right. Front line of being backwards.
Alan.
And so what did they do? They have now passed and said that basically at any point of viability, if an individual has an abortion, that the person who had the abortion can't be sued, right? But the individuals that have performed it can be sued and may be subject to criminal prosecution. So what's happened? We've had individuals within our state who have had, and you know what? I'm gonna be honest, Ed.
You gonna be honest?
I'm gonna be honest. I really hadn't delved into the circumstances of an individual needing reproductive care, right? And specifically with respect to abortions. And I found out after doing reading, there are really a myriad of reasons or situations that arise that an individual would be recommended to have an abortion. We've had some instances that have come before the courts. It was one lady, she had, the child was going to have a lack of chromosomes. The child was not going to survive. She went to court and asked for them to give her an order to say that she could have this abortion. The law says that you can only have an abortion if there was some danger to her. And while she was almost to the point, while she was in such a state that she was almost what we call sepsis, where you become, your blood is poisoned because of what's going on, they would not allow her to have this abortion. And so she had to travel out of state to be able to have reproductive care in a situation. Think about this. Think about somebody who, let's say, was raped and got pregnant. Under this law, that person would have to have that child and have that child look at them every day. I knew a young lady years ago who was a product of a rape. I knew her. And she would tell me how, while her mother loved her, it was always some distance between them as a result of that. Now, what would have been better? that she got aborted or she just went through life miserable, fully not feeling that her mother's love was there. But I think that's a decision that the mother, had to make. And in that situation, she dealt with it. But that's something I think that a person, especially if you're dealing with rape and incest, things of that nature, I don't think it's right for some, molester to impregnate a 12, 13-year-old girl like they had in, I think it was Indiana, I believe it was, and she has to carry and have a baby. I mean, that's not right. So why are individuals trying to, because, they don't want women to have freedom. Maybe they just want to keep them barefoot and pregnant. I don't know. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. And they're just not stopping with the decision of how I'm going to handle my reproductive care. In Alabama, about a month ago, maybe a month and a half, their Supreme Court issued a decision that said that the eggs, when you're doing the in vitro fertilization, that those eggs were people. And I guess somebody had dropped a vial and the vial broke, so, they lost that egg. And so they were like, we want to sue because, they killed somebody. And the Supreme Court basically said, yeah, that's the case. Now, Alabama started backtracking and trying to pass laws and things of that nature. But it's my understanding they're still taking issue with respect to that, the people who are against that ruling, because the law that they passed doesn't fully address the in vitro fertilization. And actually, even though they've passed that law, the in vitro fertilization clinics in Alabama have indicated that they're going to be closing down, I believe, at the end of this year because of that ruling still.
Because they don't want no parts of it.
They don't want any parts of it. Now, we're talking about Texas, right? Now, we just heard they passed that law in Alabama. They backtracking on it somewhat, this, that, and the other, right? But guess what? Texas is trying to do the same thing.
How so?
I read an article. You know what? It was in a little blurb. I think it may have been in the Texas Tribune or something, right? A little blurb. Wasn't it a big article or anything?
It's like somebody wrote it at 1:20 in the morning.
Yeah, something like that. But no, it was an actual article, right? It wasn't just somebody just writing something, like you get on the internet and somebody say something.
I'm just saying they didn't want you to read a lot into it. Yeah.
Right. But what it said was that the Republican committee, or the Republicans in the state of Texas, are passing a resolution to outlaw in vitro fertilization. You follow me? So now, what they're going to do is they're going to pass their little resolution, right? Then what they're going to do is they're going to take that resolution and put it into their Republican plank in the state of Texas, right? And once they put it in the Republican plank, then guess what's going to happen? They're going to pass a law because they got the majority. They're going to pass a law to make it they're going to make it where it's prohibited to have in vitro fertilization. Now, how many women have you heard who have had issues with respect to pregnancies, things of that nature, have had children by in vitro fertilization? I mean, there's so many people now. I mean, it's not even a big deal anymore. But these individuals want to stop those individuals from being able to plan how they have their families. How is that freedom? How is that not interfering with a person's personalhood in making determinations of how they live their life and raise their family? Because you got to look at it. With the abortion, they're saying, oh, well, we don't want you to do that because we feel that it's a life, right?
Right.
But with in vitro fertilization, that's giving life. So how do you square those two positions? I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling.
So what's the end game on this?
Well, my whole thing is, man, is that, a lot of times these Republicans, you see all these signs when they running for office, conservative, I'm conservative, so-and-so, the conservative Republican. the thing is, man, a lot of these people who are trying to rule our lives,
ruin our lives.
Or ruin our lives. Individuals who are sitting here trying to say what you can say and where you can protest, what you can learn, what books you can read, how you can have your children. Those individuals are not conservative. They're crazy. They're crazy.
So what's the end game?
The end game is that we gotta band together, and we gotta vote these people out. That's the one thing.
Okay, we have about 4 more minutes. That's what we need to do.
Well,
what
yeah.
can we personally do?
Well, like I said earlier, we've got to support individuals and organizations that support your causes, right? We've got to understand that individuals in Houston, Dallas, El Paso, down in the valley that feel and think alike, that we're all in this together, and that we have to be able to use our resources collectively to make a change throughout the whole state. You know, a lot of times, Texas has 254 counties, 254. And, Democrats or progressive people or just regular folks, like, I don't even consider myself progressive. I consider myself to be pretty moderate about stuff. But I am about self-preservation, too.
Right.
And so the thing is that when you look at that from, blue counties, you got the big counties, but it's hard when you got, Buck Tussle, Texas, that has 7,000 people in it, and 6,000 of them vote Republican. When you add up all those 200, all those Buck Tussles, that's a lot of folks. And so we just can't say that we are just going to have to just focus in on those 10, 15 blue counties to try to win. We've got to be able to reach out to Buck Tussle, all these other counties, and we've got to get voter participation. One thing about Stacey Abrams down there in Georgia, Stacey Abrams, as it relates to both of those senators, one of them who ran twice, right? She was able, with her organization, to get individuals out, register them to vote, and to get them to the polls to vote. I live in Dallas, Texas. I mean, the senators in Georgia don't represent me per se, but I sent money to Stacey Abrams. And you know why I did? Because I knew that my 2 senators weren't advocating for me in Texas.
So you got to go somewhere else.
So I got to look and see where our connections are with similarly minded people. And so I sent money, good money, to Stacey Abrams. And you know why? Because I knew her effort to register and get people out could lead to victory. We've got to do the same thing here. We have got to just get out of focusing in on Dallas, Houston, Austin, El Paso, right? Down in the valley, which is kind of been, kind of topsy-turvy a little bit here, right? Because we're never going to win that way. We've got to reach out to all people that are progressive. This ain't a white thing. It ain't a black thing.
It's a power
thing. It's not a Hispanic deal. It's not an Asian deal. It is just common sense and being respectful for people.
Well, let's let that be our last word.
All right.
The clock on the wall is telling us. The clock on the wall is telling us, and I'm telling you that what we need to do is stop playing checkers and play chess.
Right.
But if you're going to play checkers, play for the long game as well. And I do understand that we have a competitive U.S. senatorial race in the state of Texas.
Oh, without a doubt. Our U.S. U.S. Rep out of the 32nd District, Colin Allred, is running against Ted Cruz. And, Ted Cruz has been, well, when we say crap, I'll just put it this way. If you call my wife ugly and then on top of it think I'm going to come back and start smooching up to you, I mean, that will never happen. But that's happening with him. I mean, I've never seen somebody that as just fawning over Donald Trump as much as Ted Cruz. It's kind of, you remember back in college, we used to call a brother like that a pieback.
A pieback.
Pieback. You never hear that one?
No, no.
See, I was up.
You went to one of them fancy northern colleges, didn't you?
Well, for law school, yeah. We used to say pieback. His spine was made out of pie crust, so he was pieback. He was weak.
He's weak.
Weak.
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Ted Cruz is one of Donald Trump's henchmen. And Ted Cruz was told by Donald Trump that he had an ugly wife. And still to this very day, Ted Cruz would rather kiss Donald Trump
than his own wife.
So with that, we're getting ready to go out. It's 5:50. We're out. We'll see you guys back next week.
All right.
All right.
Hey,
take care.
Thank
All right.